Oh, come on. No, come on. No, come on. What was that attack?
I gotta dodge it, man.
Well, yeah, I know that, but...
Welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering Fulghor, champion of the Nightglow, also known as the Darkdrift Knight. We're going to cover all his attacks in his arsenal and how to best evade. At the end of the video, I will give you general tips and tricks to give you the best advantage to beat the boss. But before we hop into phase 1, let's take a look at his stats. So with negations, he's weak to lightning, which we're going to touch on the rest of the video. But he's strong versus holy, so don't get those confused when you're running around trying to get a weapon. For resistances, he doesn't really have any high resistances to anything except for immunity to madness. So let's go ahead and hop into phase 1. So here we have the ground slam. He jumps up, then slams his spear into the ground. Pretty simple, dodge just before he hits the ground. He might also combo this with another variation where he just rears up, then slams down. However, in this one, this actually breaks the ground around him, meaning you can't sidestep him. So you're either going to need to dodge or jump to avoid. He also has a spear lunge, so Fulghor is going to bring his spear back before thrusting it forward. So he's going to delay this just a half second. So again, pretty simple dodge. So this is a spear drag and then thrust. He will drag his weapon forward along his horse body, then thrust it upward at the end of the drag. So I find the best thing to do is to dodge into the drag like I do here. Note the position of the spear here because it's different than this next attack. So this is the spear throw. So instead of dragging the spear, he will have it alongside his body. And you can see that the air is bending around his spear before he throws this air forward in a horizontal arc. He will indicate this by bringing the spear back and then swinging it across like this. This has a bit of range, so keep that in mind when you're timing your roll. This is the spear slam. Fulghor is going to point his spear down and then stab it into the ground. This is going to be followed by these exploding seals. This is an easy one to dodge too early. You actually want to dodge a half second after he slams the spear down.
Oh, big dodge.
Also, you can see here, these shackles will spawn around you, restricting your movement, and it's going to cause you to only be able to fat roll. I noticed that sometimes you get shackled regardless of your distance. Not sure why this happens sometimes and not other times. Leave a comment if you know why this happens. But this is why it's really good to understand the boss's weakness. As you can see here, he was actually stunned out of this attack. This happened several times. We had an Iron Eye that was constantly doing lightning damage to him. Because if he completes this spear slam, then holy spears will sporadically start pointing out of the ground with this only indication of this faint yellow glow. You can also use your ultimate here. However, if you do break his stance, sometimes he will still do this like mini slam. So there will be like baby spears that'll pop up everywhere, but not as bad as the full attack. So this is the stampede. So Fulghor brings his spear behind his back, then charges forward at damn near the speed of light. He's going to leave behind a trail of energy with this massive AoE. The best strat is to sprint out of this field to either side. However, if you're stuck in the middle, you can still dodge roll, but you have to get the timing right. Since the timing will be kind of different depending on the position you're in, I've calculated about 1 second after he's finished the charge until detonation. I will play it on screen at regular speed so you can see. I conclude the charge when he makes the sharp turn and he stops glowing yellow. This is when the timer starts.
Oh, come on.
Also, as Jeff found out, he can stampede multiple times.
No, come on.
So at the end of the charge, he will slam his legs down and create a much bigger AoE. Once he slams down, I calculated 1.5 seconds before the blast. I'll also show you that timing now. So this I just call the airbending combo. So sometimes Fulghor will do multiple airbending attacks that, like I said, do have range. So keep an eye on his spear for the wind charges around it. He will raise his spear up before swinging it down to the ground. That's when you know it's time to dodge. So moving into phase 2, he's going to signify this by growing a twisted purple Dark Souls 3 kind of arm. He will jump straight up in the air and then slam it down on the ground. And this is going to create a giant, massive AoE. So you want to dodge just before he lands on the ground. So of course, on top of phase 1 attacks, he's also going to have stuff like arm combos. Here's an example of the combo he does. So he slashes his arm forward multiple times, covering the ground with this venom goop. If you dodge into this, it's actually the easiest since his momentum kind of carries him forward. And if you're close enough, you might only need to dodge once, and then he'll finish his move completely off track. But if you are further away when he starts this attack towards you, then you're going to have to dodge multiple times. Like I completely fail here. So this is the arm slam. This is kind of like when he rears up, but he's going to use his arm instead. This is a little mini ground slam. He's going to slam down, and this is also going to create this 360, but this is going to be like the Venom Goop 360. So again, you can't sidestep this. You can either roll into it or out of it. You also can combo this with the horizontal slash that we talked about in phase 1, which kind of leads into the next thing. So he's going to have a arm and spear kind of combo. Fulghor combines, the arm attacks with the spear attacks, normally ending in a ground slam. You've seen all these moves before, but now he's just kind of stringing them together and combining them. I would just, in general, suggest dodging into these since, again, his momentum is kind of carry him forward. It's hard for him to turn around and get you if you've moved past him. My main takeaways here is breaking his stance is easy with lightning-based weapons. You, of course, can also use your ult, but just make it easy on yourself and at least have one person with a lightning-based weapon. In my opinion, the best time to use this is to break his stance before the spear slam, since it gets rid of all those annoying spear AoEs. He already has enough AoEs to keep track of.
Oh, come on.
But overall, the best thing to do is to sprint or roll into all of his attacks, because his momentum carries him forward and he doesn't really have a good way of retargeting you after he's already passed you. But that is all his movesets that I can cover. Overall, not too many attacks in his arsenal. A lot are just variations of the same moves. I plan on doing all the bosses in Nightreign and covering phase 3 for all the bosses, probably all in one video, so stay tuned for that. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Oh, wiggle with it, wiggle with it, wiggle with it, wiggle with it.